5:30, we have a quorum. We'll call the workshop session to order. Donna?
Tonight, we have Chief Kerbo with us, and he's going to do a presentation on freeway incident. I'm just going to turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I hope that Rudy's not late because the highway's jammed up. Being kind of appropriate for that. So we're gonna do a little bit of presentation about the freeway incident management, and then I have a little time left over for a little bit of show and tell, show you some of the tools that you guys have gratefully provided to us to help enhance safety. So we'll jump right into it here. So, man, we've all been there where you're driving along, free and clear, and all of a sudden the highway just jams up. Happened to me last Friday night going into Dallas for dinner. And it could be any number of things. It could be a crash, it could be a disabled car, it could be that old mattress that flew off the back of the pickup truck. I mean, you name it, it could be just about anything going on there. Creates a lot of unsafe conditions and things on not just the motoring public, but also our first responders who are required to come out and try to manage those incidents. For each minute that a freeway travel lane is blocked during peak use, an estimated 4 minutes of delay results. And that accounts for 4.2 billion hours per year in delays, and that's not just Louisville I-35, that's nationwide. The U.S. Department of Transportation studied and reports that we burn over 2.8 billion gallons of gas every year while we're stuck in incident-related freeway matters. So the Federal Highway Administration developed a multidisciplinary training program designed for first responders, and that includes law enforcement, fire department, and also our tow companies. It's endorsed by the North Central Texas Council of Governments. In fact, they hold several training sessions each year that most of us go to. I know that all of my supervisors, all the way through my rank, have been to that training, and we repeat that every 3 years or so. And I believe Chief Tittle's captains and above have all been to that same training, so we're all kind of on the same page. And our tow companies also participate in that training. So the efforts for freeway incident management are really pretty simple. It's locating and detecting those incidents there and responding, clearing that incident scene quickly, and then restoring the freeway flow. So what you see on the left in that picture there is a typical kind of scenario where police and fire are responding. And even though the car is often in the bar ditch there, the fire department is likely responding to injuries as a result of that crash. And so they need that lane in order to access the victims and get them help as they need to. Now, ordinarily, our car probably would be on the other side of the fire truck because they're so kind to bring that big piece of apparatus out and block for us so that we don't get run into. And I'll show you a video that kind of demonstrates that. And then, of course, on the right side is our squad car with the push bumpers that are mounted to the front. We're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to begin using that in a new policy change for us. So obviously the benefits is it does save lives. Training for us to get out there and quickly clear these scenes is very important, not only for the motoring public out there, but making sure we don't have those secondary and tertiary crashes that can occur when people are stacked up. Because we do see that happen. People are texting and they're not looking to see what's going on in front of them in the freeway. But more importantly, our first responders who are going out there. Every minute that we leave our guys out there with the freeway traffic as it is puts us at risk, and so we want to try to minimize that. Certainly for our lives, but also for our apparatus that's out there. It does save money. That efficient response by us and by the fire department and tow companies helps to reduce costs. We can save gasoline costs. Commerce is directly affected by the delays and being able to travel up and down our freeways. And we also save time. One of the real proponents of it is to get out there and really quickly get that lane opened up so the traffic can resume its flow. And then we continue our investigation off the road as much as we can. A lot of that's impacted by whether there are injuries or not. When there's injured persons, we of course are going to stay probably on the highway until we're able to get them aid quickly. And then once that's done, we're moving off the road. So a couple of policy changes that we've instituted. Back in May, we started using our push bumpers a little bit more. So one of the tenets of the training has always been to try to push or pull the vehicles off the roadway just as quickly as you can. But for some reason, as we started looking at ourselves, we never did implement that. And nobody really knows why we didn't do that. I don't know if there was a concern in the past about doing damage to not only our vehicles, but also the crash vehicles. But, I guess we were worried about some liability. Well, there's a Texas transportation law that actually protects us from liability, unless we're grossly negligent or reckless about what we're doing. But we can actually move a person's property off the roadway without their consent, and we can use whatever means is available to us, which means pushing it or pulling it. So we bought some tow straps, and we have our push bumpers in every car, and we've trained our folks to be able to start doing that, and we began doing that early in May, and have had some early success. Chief Taylor, I think, is here and can attest to that a little bit. So that's been helpful to us. We also, if you look at the third bullet, one of the next things that we want to start doing, probably towards the end of June, maybe early part of July, is we want to also be able to tow cars that are off the main travel portion of the roadway. And if you go back to that previous picture that we looked at, sometimes apparatus needs to get down in there to a vehicle that's off the road. But just imagine if there was a car that was parked on that shoulder, or just left-hand wheels on the pavement part, right side or off on the grass. Just think how much more difficult that would be for first responders to get to that crash scene, to get to that victim to aid them. So what we want to be able to do is, if we have a car that's just mechanically broken down on the side of the road, instead of waiting 48 hours, as we have typically been doing, we want to go ahead and tow that thing pretty quickly. Now, when I say quickly, one of the caveats I put on the bottom of the slide is we're probably going to spend some due diligence for about 30 minutes to try to locate an owner. Maybe they called into the dispatch and told us what the deal is with the mechanics, or what their issue is with the vehicle. But either way, we're going to give them a little bit of grace time to try to get that vehicle removed. But we're going to deem that as a traffic hazard, and that same law that protects us about moving vehicles from the roadway protects us in this matter as well. We want to be able to have plenty of room around the highway to be able to get our first responders there to help the victims and help get those vehicles moved off. That's going to be even more of a trouble whenever the I-35 expansion really gets into full swing. We've already seen some of the lane changes that you guys, if you've driven up now 35, and how that's changed up north in Denton and going on into Carrollton and Farmers Branch. It's going to be even more difficult for us as they start doing those lane changes and take up more of the pavement to do their work they have to do. So it's incumbent upon us to get those vehicles moved off the roadway as quickly as we can. There's some interesting stats I thought you guys would want to see. In Denton County, the 2013 crashes and fatalities are up over 18% since 2012. And that's just going to get worse, I got a feeling. The crash rate average in the region is 78.74, and Denton County is right at that average, just at 75. As we continue to see growth rates and people trying to drive the highway, I can only imagine that rate's going to try to go higher, unless we try to do something in Louisville to lessen that for us. We had the third highest crash rate for our corridor from North Garden Ridge to San Raven Tollway in the COG region, which is kind of telling to me that, anything that we can do to help try to minimize those crashes will be good for us. And we're talking about those secondary crashes. A lot of times you can't do anything about that first one, but we can certainly have an impact on where there's a secondary crash as a result of that one incident that's taking place on the highway. This is that law, I think it's in your backup with your memo, the law in the Texas Transportation Code, the Assistant Authority. Again, we're only liable if we grossly are negligent in what we do, or we're reckless about what we do. And I have a video to show. It didn't work on here very well, but I do have it here. So let me set this up for you. This is about the 1300 block of North I-35E northbound, which is just going to be south of the 121 business overpass. Alpines on the right, that kind of thing, and the motels are on the left. And we're able to see this video because we have a vehicle that's it's got a dash cam going on, we got a flare line going on. Up ahead, we see the officers are working. Boom. And just narrowly missed the officer that was sitting inside of his car at the time with the car door open. It's going to repeat in slow motion so you can kind of see.
Because I didn't cringe enough the first time.
Yeah. And you see the guy with the officer coming out of the car.
God bless you guys.
He got nicked on the leg a little bit, but otherwise was okay.
Was he under the influence?
He was, yes. He was under our influence from then on.
I like your influence, man.
Anyway, so I bring this to council only because I suspect that we'll get a little blowback as we start pulling cars that are just broken down on the highway, had a flat, and they're not very quick about getting their vehicle removed from the roadways. We'll tow those after about 30 minutes or so, and I figure that it's possible that you guys could hear about that, from a negative standpoint. And we wanted you to know that it's all about traffic and first responder safety. We're not looking out there trying to make a bunch of money pulling cars. We're just trying to keep that road clear and safe for our first responders and our motorists. So if you have any questions?
I have a few,
Okay.
not just one. In that transportation code, or actually I think it's water code, it's in an odd place. But anyway, it talks about the owner of personal property moving into this section shall reimburse the authority or law enforcement agency for any reasonable cost of removal and disposition of property contained. And so the question is, are you pressing for that under any circumstances? You have that option, but doesn't
We
mean
have
you
that
have to do
option,
it.
but we're not really going to press for that.
Okay.
We're gonna have that vehicle towed, and it's gonna be upon the owner of the vehicle to get their vehicle out of hock, so to speak. So it'll be between them and the tow company, they'll be out that money. We're not seeking any kind of, time for us to do that removal, unless it were a real protracted kind of a thing. You recall that incident, Tim, help me out with this, the big semi up on the highway that, where the big hazmat thing, and, maybe in a big situation like that, we
Right.
might seek to do that.
Okay.
But otherwise, if it's just a crash, or, mechanical breakdown on the road and we get it moved off, we're not looking to go after those guys.
Okay. My second question is, you talked about earlier, if people have, you'll order a tow truck if they haven't ordered one themselves. If the car is sitting there, they're not with it, but they've ordered a tow truck, how are you gonna know that?
Well, yeah, good question. It's incumbent upon them to kind of communicate that with us. And we do see that happen sometimes where people will, they'll go out and make their own arrangements, but they don't realize maybe we have too. Now, that crash scene, we make that communication clear with the people that are associated with the vehicles. If they're injured and they're obviously not present at the scene, we're gonna go ahead and order a tow truck to get the road cleared. But if it's just cars broke down the side of the road, what we're hoping on is that we can do enough public education that at least our residents and those that frequent the area will know enough to call us and let us know that they're working on a solution. And we're gonna try to do the best we can in 30 minutes to locate an owner, and, sometimes we're able to get folks on the phone and work out a deal, and we're gonna work with folks as much as we can. But we get zero input from them, our impetus is gonna be to remove that vehicle from the road. And again, we're talking about, if it's way off in the bar ditch and we could still get a police vehicle or a fire apparatus off the main pavement, into the grassy area and everything and do their work, we're not gonna worry about that vehicle so much. But if they're gonna impede on that at all, then there'll be a little bit of a judgment on our part, then we're gonna have that car pulled.
My third question, and I think it's the last one, is do you still find people that have either minor accidents or an accident with minor injuries, but not any serious injuries, that think that they need to leave the cars where they are for you to come look at
Yes,
them?
we do.
Is there something we can do to educate people better?
Yeah, I mean, we constantly fight that battle, and it's not, it's, the highway is the real protracted part of that deal, but it happens all the time around the city. As soon as we get there, there's some immediate education that occurs right then when we get those people off. But, we continually try to do that. As part of this push, we keep reinforcing that issue that, if it's minor, you certainly need, and your car's removable, get those puppies off the road.
Okay, and to that, I guess, when it is, let's say it is a minor thing, though. Is 30 minutes enough time to get someone to get a record there? I mean, people got USAA, they don't get there in an hour, or what's the other one? Not USAA. it's
AAA.
AAA, yeah. They don't get there in 30 minutes, so I'm sorry, they just don't. Maybe 2 hours, and, I mean, they could have walked up, let's say they had a car just broke down, and they walked to a filling station to get some help or something, and they're not there. Are we giving them enough time to do that before they get
Our
there?
idea, that 30 minutes, we're hoping they will contact us. If they contact us and say, hey, I've got a record coming,
Okay.
it's gonna be a couple hours, we're gonna let them,
Okay.
we're gonna let them ride, as long as they're not in the way,
Okay.
But if we just don't hear anything from anybody after we try for 30 minutes to get hold of somebody, then we're gonna be more likely to pull it.
Okay. And then, what education, you talked about education in public, what education are you gonna do to let people know they need to start notifying you like that?
Mr. Cunkey and I are gonna meet and talk about that. I'm sure it's gonna involve, obviously the print media, but the social media. We'll try to do billboards if we can. We'll seek every avenue we can to try to educate folks. It won't be 100%, just as we know that, there's lots of different ways people get their news. And You know, they may not see that clip, but, you know, we'll do our best effort to try to public, you know.
We're gonna
educate
do
the public
that before we start talking.
Before we start, yes, sir.
Okay. And then my last thing is, if you have an incident where there's a car run out of gas, or that's not what I'm thinking of, but there's a person there, your pusher, can you push them up to a filling station?
Absolutely. And we work on that on a few occasions.
Okay. Because I always wondered why, before you couldn't do that, or you
Before-
didn't do
Before
that.
we self-limited ourselves to doing
Yeah,
that. We
not
could
to
always
do
do
that.
it, but we just weren't doing it for
Yeah,
some reason.
so now if they've got something, you can push them to a filling station.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
We had one recently where they were Main and Summit, and we pushed them off the road up into a parking lot.
Right.
Chief, there was a data point on there that said we were the third most impacted crashful, whatever you would call that.
Yeah, we had the third highest corridor rate, that corridor being North Garden Ridge to the Sam River Tollway, according to COG.
So what creates that? Is that just we're third highest because we're the third most traveled, or do we have some specific road features that create that?
Well, I think it's probably a little bit of both. We obviously are well-traveled, but, you know, we have there's a constant issue that we have up on the north end of the freeway where there's some minor flooding that occurs. That creates more crashes. You know, I mean, really short of that, and the fact that we have, you know, so many motorists coming and going, that's what's kind of attributed to.
We also have we've got 2 state highways and, or 2 farm markets and state highway crossings.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you have that much concentration in that, you know, distance anyplace else along that corridor. That's a lot of traffic coming across.
I think I-35 should be expanded, don't you?
Talk to my.
No,
I think transit needs to be used, but
I
that's just
heard
me.
that idea a decade ago.
Yeah, me too.
There's a partial solution.
Yeah, transit and telecommunications.
And I've been through a few highway expansions in my career here, and it's gonna get worse before it gets better, believe me. When you start doing work on the highway, Charles will attest to that. You know, crash rates will go up a little bit. That's just the nature of the beast.
One last comment. You named the ways you would educate, and you put one in there that I was hoping I would hear, that I would think would be the single most effective, which would be our digital billboards, because now traffic can see it while they're driving.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'll be key.
All right, so now it's show and tell. Chief Taylor's gonna come up and show us a couple things. And while he's doing that, let me introduce another member of my staff, Captain Jay Powell back here, who effective Wednesday will be my new assistant chief. So congratulations. And then we have Ryan Malley back here, who's one of our SWAT operators as well as a detective. So I think he's gonna assist in the demo. A couple things that we want to show you
He's the
guys.
brains of the operation. So, and Mally, that video up there, you know, gave you the heebie-jeebies as you watch it. You see that car flying, you know what's gonna happen, right? Well, Mally was in that car that was taking the video that
Yeah.
night.
Oh, wow.
So he was the first one to run up to Officer Lee and make sure he was okay. So can you imagine being there helpless, watching that happen, unfold right in front of you? So, what we have here is each patrol car, each car assigned to patrol, the patrol supervisors have this Patriot shield. So this is a level 3A shield, so it offers the same ballistic protection as our vest. And so what that stops is the majority of your handgun rounds. So besides your vest, now you can protect your upper body or more of your body. You can peek around corners and stuff like this. And Carrollton knows we have it, so if they're close by or if we're close by, they'll be like, hey, you got that shield, because they don't have them, so they're jealous.
Do you have one for every patrol car?
So for every car assigned to patrol, and then the patrol supervisors have these, and then the patrol supervisors additionally have a level 4 shield. It doesn't have the viewport, but it's also raised to stop rifle rounds, so it's a little heavier shield. So these are lightweight. You can fold these up into like a briefcase size. The guys leave them ready to deploy because they go out fast with them. And one of the things that y'all might keep in mind, if any of the citizens say, hey, the SWAT team was doing this, that, or the other, we've trained our officers up, and if there's an active situation going on, our patrol guys look a whole lot like a SWAT team. When you start looking at shields, you start looking at your rifles and things of that nature. It's the patrol guys going out there. And I think some of the events that have happened over the past few years have really shown how your patrol guys have to be geared and ready and trained to handle that mission, because all the bad stuff's over in a matter of minutes. So they're the first ones there, and they got It's not like the old days of surround and call out and wait for the SWAT team. We're going in and taking care of business. Now, talking about surround and contain and call the SWAT team, another life-saving feature we have here is we have a number of robots. We have 2 of the Scouts. These are little 2-wheeled robots. And real-world scenario, we've thrown these through windows, cleared buildings. Actually, have gone, well, besides face-to-face with little puppy dogs, they like them, face-to-face with guys walking around that are barricaded in their home and they're walking around with handguns in their hands. The neat thing about these is they're small, they're pretty quiet. The SWAT team will get them in, they'll park them somewhere like under a chair, or under a couch, or under a table or something. And the bad guys won't even realize we're watching what they're doing while they're inside. So when you're watching, your TV news, and this is what you see, is you see some SWAT guy with this device in his hand. They don't get to see the real action, they get to see the guy with
The camera's right here. These are real durable little robots. You can chunk them about 50 feet. We can break windows with them. They're very quiet. In a normal scenario, the people that we're going to look at don't really even see them or hear them. But they're great for us because now I don't have to send.
If you climb over your foot.
Now I don't have to send a team into a room without getting some little bit of a forward observer in there. This is somewhat limited, as you can see. It's small. It only has 2 wheels, so it has difficulty getting from level to level. Transitions between carpet and tile floor sometimes cause it some problems, but it's kind of a trade-off because it is so small and so easy to carry. We just throw it in our BDU pockets, and we can carry it with us.
Look at them moving their feet.
So generally,
we got a few ladies with.
I'm more than that.
Camera, I didn't think about that.
Come on, Steve. One of the first call-outs we used this robot on, or one of the larger call-outs we had, a guy was shooting a pistol out his back window. Older guy, little altered possibly, and he ended up barricading himself back in his house. We were able to deploy these robots, and we found him in his house, wandering around with a pistol in each hand. I really believe that if we didn't have that robot and we ended up going through that same door, that somebody would have gotten hurt or killed. So they do a great job for us. They do allow us to have a peek at what we're going into before we have to send our people in there. But again, the robots have their limitations, so we have started to look into other items that are a little bit different. Again, the biggest limitation for this one is the fact that it can't do really well with transition level changes.
Right.
So obviously it can't go over a step or a stair. Sometimes it gets stuck in like dirty clothes. And it's hard to believe, but a lot of the houses we go into aren't all that nicely kept. So there's a lot of stuff on the ground. We have some issues there, here and there.
So what's the little deal foot back and forth for?
It's just when you go back and forth, that's reverse.
I know, but I mean, what is it?
This is just a stabilizer. It's a little tab.
Oh, okay.
It just helps keep it
Oh,
going
okay.
straight and straight.
Gotcha.
What's your range on something of that nature?
That's a very difficult question. I ask all the robot producers or builders of these same questions, and they always tell me, well, it depends. But it really does. In commercial construction, there's a lot more wiring and stuff in the building, so it causes some interference a lot faster. In residential construction, it's not as bad. Their line of sight, they're going to say 50 meters, 100 meters line of sight is going to be our general range. But if you start turning corner after corner after corner, you could potentially get lost in the building. And that has happened. This little robot has gotten lost. It's gotten it's gotten out of range. So y'all are setting me up really well here. We are slowly working to try to fix all of these issues. So the first issue, the biggest issue we had with this is another deal we had. We went into a house and cleared a room and then turned a corner and flopped down into a sunken living room. It was one of those houses built back in like the 80s.
Oh.
Had the little sunken living room that had one step down. Well, he was done. I mean, there was nothing else he could do. We couldn't get him back out. We couldn't get him up.
Yeah.
So we did some research and found this robot. This is
I got a couple of questions.
yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, so does that also have memory that records the video, or how's the
This
video
one does not.
captured?
This
Does
one does not.
So you see what you see.
This one can transmit video to our command center, our command post,
Okay.
and they can, I don't know if you have the capability or not, you can get a video.
You could put a DVR on
Yeah.
that.
You can.
Capture
You can.
that.
Yeah, all the videos that can be fed back to a main computer or a main hub can be saved on a DVR or something, but this one doesn't have that capability right now.
Does it also give you some indication of signal strength coming back so that you get an idea if
This one
you're
does
getting
not.
out of range?
This one also does, it starts to flicker,
Okay.
but this one also does not tell you battery power. So we literally start a stopwatch when we deploy the robot because we have about 45 minutes.
Okay.
And that also varies. If we're driving constantly, it's not going to last as long as if we say we know the bad guy's in a back corner and we focus on him and just watch. That's going to take less energy on the robot's batteries than driving through a house.
And I'm guessing in a corrugated steel building, you're out of luck.
I haven't been in one, but we have been in some commercial construction that we've had some issues.
Stucco's brutal on those guys.
So the next robot we went to was built by iRobot. That's the same people that do the Roomba and the Scuba, the little vacuum cleaner robots. Their main focus is military-based robots. This is their iRobot First Look. This is a little throwable robot. Again, it's meant and designed to be launched through a window. You can chunk it really far. They are very durable robots. This particular robot has 4 cameras. It's got a camera on each side and a camera in the front and the back. It can see in the dark. And it also has these little flippers. And what that does for us, what the flippers do for us, they allow us to get up and down some stairs.
Yeah, that's just like a tickle me
On the
off.
YouTube.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
The,
It makes it get up off the floor.
yeah. This robot has a little bit longer range. Still, though, it's going to be varied by the line of sight, by the building configuration, the construction, that kind of stuff. It can go up and down stairs. It can't. I didn't have to work real hard now. It can't really go up an entire flight of stairs, but if it gets stuck in something like a living area, sunken living area, you can get out of 1 or 2 steps.
Yeah.
It can really easily get over piles of clothing and stuff on the floor, debris, that kind of thing.
Just like tickle me off.
Some of the nice features about this robot is it has the capability of communicating with other robots of its own type. So if we send this robot in and it goes through the house and loses signal, if we have another one like this, it can reach and kind of act as a relay,
Oh, wow.
which is kind of a cool feature.
Yeah.
Still, some of the things that it can't do, obviously, is it can't open doors for us. It can't move things for us. But it is it's a great step in the right direction for us from these little guys. These serve a purpose. They're very, very helpful for us. But they're very, very limited. We have actually gotten stuck in a tile floor. We couldn't get out of it to go to a carpeted area. That's kind of problematic. This guy has none of those issues. It does have a big brother that we're looking at right now that has an articulating arm. It can open doors. It can place explosive charges. It can communicate with people inside buildings. It also can communicate with this robot, so we can kind of double our range. This one can go in, act as a relay to get us further into a structure. Another very interesting thing about the other robot is that that particular one, as you drive through, it remembers where it is. It knows where it is, and if it loses signal, it automatically backs up to its last point of connection, so we never lose it. Anyway, that's kind of
How durable are they against gunshot?
They, I don't know, they are more durable than our fellow SWAT guys. So,
No, we're not getting T-1000s. It's not happening.
it's more like number 5.
Okay.
You said you wanted to drive it.
Where's our liquid metal cop, right?
Exactly.
Be careful, it's not as easy to drive. At least that little one was.
That's the door.
Here, let me put it in a different mode for you.
Slow her down.
This is, yeah, yeah, put it in the beginner
There you go.
mode. There we go, slow-mo.
TJ, bring it to me, I want to see how it goes.
It's up.
Bring him to me. Bring him to me.
Bring him to me.
Want to be a fine bird. Bird.
Little TJ.
Nose on
Some of the nice
Well,
features
it's
about
really intuitive.
some of the nice features about this robot is that it's actually right here in the corner. It kind of shows you, it's got a horizon, so it tells you if you're on a incline. It tells you where the flippers are in relation to the robot. It's going to help you, because everybody's pretty decent. That's nice. Everybody's
They
pretty
have no
decent.
idea what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, pretty sure it's on film.
He was gonna grab it while you were holding it. If you'd have started that thing, she'd have screamed and hollered and gone up in there. It'd have flown in the air.
Just looking for the cameras.
Anyway,
Okay.
It's like,
very good. Y'all have any questions? Any more questions?
so how many of the iRobots do we actually?
We have this iRobot right now, and we have our two original little first of these throwables, and those are actually kind of reaching the end of their serviceability. But we have replaced those with the ones that you saw. We have two of those. So we basically, in effect, have three robots in our fleet. Those two are just kind of standalone. What you see is what you get. This product does work with the other one that does have the ability to open doors and place charges and do all the things that a human can do, really.
And he's looking right now at getting one of those.
I am looking at the iRobot. It's called a PackBot. It's a much larger machine. It is it's durable enough to throw it, but it's not really throwable. It weighs about 45, 50 pounds. It's quite large. It does kind of remind me of Number 5, the robot from the movies.
95.
Some of the greatest features, though, on that is the fact that that robot, when driven properly, can work its way through a house to search that house. It can open doors. It can move things out of the way. If it gets lost, it can back up. If it gets lost, we can add signal with this one. We can kind of boost the signal that way. I've recently attended some training, and it seems to me that the focus on tactical teams now is really to get away from kicking doors down to go get dope. The idea of putting officers' lives in danger, as much as we love doing that kind of stuff, it's really not as safe as it should be. So the idea is that we're starting to do more surrounding call-outs for drug-related activity. You're never going to see a SWAT team surround and call out for an active shooter. You're never going to see them surround and call out for somebody where there's a hostage in play. But the majority of the work that we do here with the Louisville SWAT team is narcotics related, and I really see that we're probably going to transition away from that, kicking doors in to go rescue drugs. So these items, they are somewhat costly, but
That was my next question.
that one was, I think, about $25,000. The big one is about $130,000.
So the bigger one though, is it, and I wasn't saying, so I understand about, not, if it's better than putting a police officer.
Yeah.
But is it more durable for like a small gunshot? I'm sure if you had a big.
Probably not. I mean, I don't know.
Seem like they would make those where they.
They're made.
I mean, you'd have to hit them
They're
certain
mil
spots.
spec. They're made to military specifications. They are in use right now overseas. They've got like 4,000 of them that are out and working. The company's got great customer service. They've always been very helpful with us. They try to keep the robot running. They offer, they have some spare parts that they will just put on for you, those kind of things. But I mean, it is a tool. And when you use your tools, the trade-off is this: if the bad guy's shooting at the robot,
Right,
he's shooting at the robot and not me.
right.
And if the robot can be there
No,
to
I was
take
just
that.
thinking if they make one that is more resistant, has
They make
Kevlar
them
or
as-
something,
Yeah.
then that might
You
be.
run into a couple, you start adding a lot of weight. So you limit
Yeah.
what the robot can do.
Okay.
And then also you're gonna add probably more than what 2 robots would cost if you were to take that
The-
and design it to.
The weight
handle
and
smaller.
the agility of the robot is going to be dramatically affected if you make the entire thing bulletproof. And I've done a lot of research with other teams, and not many. I've heard of one that had the robot shot, but it's a robot. The bad guy knows it's a robot. So we actually had a robot picked up and thrown in a bathtub once, and that, I mean, that was it. This type of robot is stuck by a bathtub. You can't do anything with it. The big one could crawl out, this one can't. So they get it, they know kind of what's going on, but again, you know, if they're shooting at the robot, they're not shooting at us, so, good deal.
So these are deployed with the SWAT team?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. We use them as a forward observer, generally with these type robots, because they don't have the capability to get through barricades, to get through doors, those kind of things. This one can go up a few stairs, but it would literally take probably all the battery in 30 minutes for me to operate that one up an entire stairwell. So really, the way we generally work with them is we work our way into a position of the house. We send the robot in first, we then go in and put real eyes on, check that room, pull people up, and just kind of leapfrog through the house.
What does iRobot give you for typical life expectancy? I mean, because once we add these, now we start looking at, okay, what's
Yeah,
replacement costs and
replacement.
whatnot?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're expecting 10 years, but I know, was it 5 years?
Well, the things that go bad the fastest are batteries.
Mhm.
And with the large robots, the batteries
That's large,
are
yeah.
a military grade battery, look kind of like the little batteries you put in your kids' cars, you know, the little Fisher Price cars. They're a little more impressive than that, but those batteries are the ones that you can replace. As far as the components, Denton County has one. They were one of the first that I went and looked at. They've had it for probably 7 years, maybe now, and it's still serviceable, still no problems. So I'm guessing 10 years would probably be a good goal.
Super. Good stuff, thank you.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you. Is that it, Chief?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for your attention. We appreciate it. And thanks for the money to buy these things. It really does mean, you know, safety for our guys and for the community in general, so.
I'm just glad they don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's why I was thinking.
Glad they don't look like Arnold.
Yes, me too.
There's your,
Okay, Donna, next item?
Yes, next, Mayor, we have representatives from CCA here today, and they have some new initiatives, I believe, that they want to discuss with the council.
Okay,
Thank you very much. My name is Bill Dandridge. I'm on the board of directors at CCA, and for the last 8 months have served as the interim president and CEO of the organization. With me tonight are Tom Sabula and Charles Emery, who Tom's on our staff. Charles is a great friend of the organization, and really I think it's what CCA grew up over the years is part of it. CCA started 41 years ago. I think it's hard for a lot of people to believe it's been around that long at this point. It started 41 years ago with 7 people on a Bible study. It has now grown to 150 employees and over 2,500 volunteers every year serving this community. I was right as Chief G spoke, I know we went to a lot of work with you and others, and so we're able to serve the community in that way. Tonight I want to try to do 3 things and try to do it fairly quickly. One, just update you a bit on the scope and the dimension of service performed by CCA broadly. Then we're going to get real personal in Louisville, because we've got our people actually extract the information down and say, all right, what do we really do here in your area? Now, what you care about, I know that's what you get asked a lot about. And then there were a few questions that you forwarded to us, really on 2 issues that we're going to take a few moments and address those questions very directly. First of all, service area. The darker colors that you see here across the bottom, these are the areas that we provide all of our services to. It's really organized around 8 school districts, starting from the left-hand side of there being Northwest School District, Argyle, Louisville, Lake Dallas, Coppell, Little Elm. Nobody else seems to know that we service Little Elm, but we do. Carrollton Farmers Branch, but only the Denton County portion of Carrollton Farmers Branch, and then of course Frisco. Now, the box that you see is different. The bigger box, that's the area served by our adult health clinic. Because as everyone knows, Denton does not have a county hospital here, and we just couldn't see our heart that we could make that kind of distinction of saying we're not going to serve other areas, because it is a real need that is there and is there all the time. So again, the darker colors you see for all of our services, the adult health clinic, though also extending to include the rest of Denton County. We served 10,689 people last year. Say it again, 10,689 people were served last year. And sometimes it's not what you do for people, it's what doesn't happen is equally as important. Because among those people, We prevented 94 foreclosures by having someone pay off their rent. 541 evictions were prevented. 564 electrical disruptions that did not happen. 49 car repossessions that we're going to take care of. And we paid 704 utility bills in addition to the monies that we gave out. Now, I spent most of my life in corporate America, and you get good feelings about that, something you can do there, but when you keep a family in their house, or you take a lady that's been battered and get her out of that situation, or you let little kids, they'll go to school with the same kind of clothes as everybody else, and a backpack that looks the same, it changes the way you feel, it changes your heart. I mentioned earlier our adult health clinic. I'll make this in advance. 5,909 patient visits last year came through the clinic. We have dental services, we have optometry, we have pain management. We do a lot of work in women's wellness, and about 70% of the people we see in our clinic are female. Now, our clinic serves people who don't have any other kind of insurance. If they have something else, we try to take advantage of the services that are there, just because the need is so big. But if people don't have another alternative, that's where they go. And so I should say Medical Center of Louisville has been great about working with us on that too. We get a lot of help from them as well. Our pantry, and a lot of people who know us have worked in our pantry. That's usually how they come. A volunteer first comes to know the pantry, because they get to see the angels up close and personal, really see the good of what you do for someone there. We had 22,000 family shopping appointments last year. That's 560 families every week that shop in our clinic, shop in our pantry, rather. And we do it a little bit differently than some others do. Some pantries just give you a box, say, here's your food for the week. We really have chosen not to do it that way. We spend a lot of time focusing on the 2 D words, dignity and discipline. Because if you rob someone from their dignity, you've really impaired their ability to get back on their feet. But people also need to have discipline in their lives too. So we do things like you're given a card when you see our caseworker, and you go to the pantry and you swipe your card when you get there. We don't charge you anything for the food. We'd really see you use that money to prevent some other issues. But if you swipe it and you would go to your budgeting class and you didn't go, or if you're signed up for GED classes and you didn't go, or you're training, it flags it. You have to go see the caseworker then and have a conversation about how you're going to get back on track. Now, we think that's a hand up and not a hand out. And it seems to be working for us, and I think we'll continue to do that in that fashion. But again, pantry is probably our single biggest place for volunteers. Well, we have 2.5 employees in the pantry to serve that many families, but we get 12,000 volunteer hours a year in there as well. Do you have a question, sir? Okay. 9,500 hours of job and education training. Here's a question for you. What percentage of the percentage of college graduates that got a job in the first 6 months after graduating last year in the state of Texas? Good guess?
3%. 3%.
A little higher than that, but
Check the low ball.
you're talking about, you're talking about my family. So that's 43% of college graduates in the state of Texas got a job last year in the first 6 months out of school. 77% of the people who went through our vocational training programs got a job immediately when they left the program. You got to step up. We don't have a lot of programs there, but what we do have seem to be very effective, and we're proud of them. Another thing we're really proud of is what a program right here in Louisville, which is called Connect to Success. And what Connect to Success is, it looks at first-generation kids whose parents didn't go to college. And I'll tell you right now, if your parents didn't go to college and you're first generation, you're trying to get in, and you're competing with someone who really understands that process, that understands the ACT prep and the SAT prep, and the writing of the thesis and the interview, and all of the service hours that you have to stack up, you're really at a disadvantage. So we've teamed up with North Central Texas College over here, and we have a program. We piloted it 2 years ago, just 8 kids the first year. All 8 of those kids are in college. One of them's on a full ride at SMU. The next class had 24 kids in it. All 24 will be in college next year, and we have 89 in the program, and no one's ever dropped out. So yes, we do things for adults, but we want to do a lot of things for kids too, to make sure that we always say the best way to break the cycle of poverty is never get in the first place. So the reason we use North Central Texas College for that is we found out that if you put kids who want to go to college around kids who are already in college, it's just almost like it's osmosis. It absorbs a bit. So again, that is a good program there. Seasonal programs, we will serve, that number's a little old, we will serve 57,000 lunches to kids in our service area this year in the Kids Eat Free program. Dr. Waddell and has been great working with us. He had a food drive at every school, every campus they had last year. That's a big help to us. Churches do the same kind of thing, and the volunteers get mobilized around that. Again, hard to believe that 57,000 lunches need to be served in our community, but they do. 1,659 children got Christmas toys. The day after, or the week after Thanksgiving each year, we take our community room and we turn it into a store. Same principle as the pantry, doesn't cost you anything, but the kids come in, and the parents, they shop, they wrap their own gifts, again, on the dignity side of it. But we throw that thing up for a month and distribute and get those presents to the kids through the program that way. As you recall, this year, when we get ready to open, was the night we had the ice. We had the ice, I don't even in my job a couple of weeks at that point in time. And Maureen Cummings, who runs that program for us, she called me and she said, we will open the Christmas store on Saturday morning. Oh, Maureen, you're crazy. There's ice out there everywhere. She goes, then get it sanded. So we did. 613 kids received back to school support. We want to make sure that every kid, every child has at least 2 outfits that are new and they have a backpack. You know, there's not to demoralize a young person by making them start off hampered that way. Again, this is a program our volunteers, Rich Flat, love to be involved in. All right, let's talk Louisville specific for a minute. You recall that I said that CCA served 10,689 people last year. Well, in Louisville, we served 3,210 adults, 2,508 children, the 99 young people that are in the Connected Success Program, and 94 people that were homeless. You kind of go, why'd you break that out? Well, really, the first of that, our systems capture where someone lives. So we get the system, we get an address for the adults and for the kids and the kids, and then the survey, the Connected Success, we don't have an address to put in for a homeless person. So until we get them stabilized, and the terms we use are rescue, then stabilization, then transformation. Until we get some of that, we have to count those manually. But you know, I think everybody wants to say we don't have homeless among us. You know, we had 94 people living in Louisville came through our doors last year. So you add all those up, and that becomes 5,901 clients who were served in Louisville last year. That's 55% of the total number that are our area. In our pantry, or in our health clinic, I should say, 47% of the people we see live in Louisville, and 58% of the pantry. As I said, my background was business, so I want to monetize everything, so we can see what the real value of it is. And we looked, for those families in Louisville, we provided $1,200,000 of family assistance last year. That's pantry, that's housing, utilities, things of that sort. We provided $1.1 million of medical care, medicines through our dispensary. You know, a lot of our doctors' time is donated. We have a few employees there because of medical record issues. You can't give all that to volunteers. But the interesting number to me was this one, the 2.7 million. What we did is, I kept seeing people go through our clinic, and I said, all right, I understand what that cost us, but there's got to be a value associated with that too. So we started querying people, and we said, you know, if this center were not available to you, what would you have done? Now, sometimes they go, well, I would just toughed it out. Sometimes you, very often, particularly with the elderly, we hear, well, I'd go to the emergency room. So then we got with, I see the chief put it nodding, but so then we got with the medical center, both in Carrollton and in Louisville, and said, help us monetize an ER visit. What is that really worth to us? And what they tell you, and apparently there's national numbers on this, they give it back to us just like that. They said, well, $800 a visit is what the average cost of a medical emergency room visit is. So we just extended the math on those that said, who lived in Louisville, that said, I would have gone to the ER, the value $2.7 million that would have landed on the back of this community if our health center wasn't over there. We we have jokingly said, it's about 6.3 when you add it up for everybody, because they're doing it. We already ought to put a billboard out here on I-35. PCA saved this community $6.3 million in medical care last year. You're welcome. $800,000 in other services, education, kids eat free, thank you very much. All totals up to $3.1 million that we spent in Louisville last year. That's 47% of our operating budget, as you can see there on the side. A little bit more demographics, 53% of the people we see are women, 47% are men. Of our demographics, of our 150 employees, how many? 55 of our employees are Louisville residents. 34% of workers. That's 55 jobs here that are being taken, and bless the people for doing it, we need them. 4 of our board members live or work in Louisville. However, and this is the unfortunate however, the majority of our individual and business donors reside in Flower Mound, Highland Village, and Coppell. So the money is coming from somewhere else. Probably not a surprise to the majority of the church donors, and these are all in order, Flower Mound, Louisville, Coppell. Almost all the grants come out of Dallas or somewhere else. There are a few that we get obviously here. And the majority of the donated goods, Flower Mound, Carrollton, and Louisville. What does that really mean? To be more specific, that's $199,618, or less than 5% of our funding came from Louisville. $3.1 million spent, $199,000 intake. It's obviously got to be a focus point for us. And we've talked a lot in the recent months about, when this thing started, it was Louisville people helping Louisville people. We got to get back to some of that too. And so Louisville's going to be a real focus area with businesses, with individuals in the next year. That's not to say that there aren't some people here who have been very generous. Medical Center gives $25,000. That's a great gift from them. CDBG, thank you all very much, $25,000. A board member, $10,000, and one of the churches here gave $11,000. So there are some, don't say people aren't generous, they are generous, but again, we've got a little bit of work to do there. I'm going to do these in reverse order for a moment. I'm going to ask this gentleman a question. Sure. If you own the house and you sold your house, and then you went and leased another house, you're not homeless, are you?
No.
No. We have sold housing that we've owned for some time. And people we've got calls from someone going, you're out of housing. No, we're out of owning housing. We were spending, let me say the exact number. So we were spending several $1,000s a month on maintenance, utilities, repairs, etc. So when we sold that housing, we took it dollar for dollar and gave it back to our family assistance people and said, spend this on housing. Assistance with rent, assistance with, I'm losing the term. Deposits, sorry, I lost it there. Assistance with moving costs when people need it. So we're still providing housing, we're just doing it in a different way. As everybody, prevent foreclosures, help you with that. We have one right now, in our last group, we have a family, the young man is working his way up in his job. The mother is in our GED classes. So we're going to carry them on ours for another 2 years if necessary to get her all the way through the program and to do that. But we'll just do it in a rented site instead of in an owned site. So that's housing. Youth in Motion, we're excited about this one. It, along with Connected Success, is focused at young people. But it's really focused at grades 3 through 5 initially. And we will begin a program next year over at Central Elementary. We're already working with Dr. Ruddell and the curriculum team, as well as Dr. Ruddell and the teachers there, on putting a program in place that's really focused on science, technology, engineering, and math, what's referred to as STEM. One of the things Dr. Ruddell told us is you really need to help kids have a visual experience. And it's so diverse in this area because you have some kids that got to Castle Hill, for instance, so school ends. Some go to Europe for the summer. The other kids hoping to go to Six Flags one day during the summer. So things that we can do to visualize that. Well, we will do in a STEM program, and then we are teamed with SciTech out of Frisco. Enchiladas, I'll try to get in a minute. But we will go into the schools for 2 days each semester and take over the gym and do a fair there. And one of our board members got excited about this. His sister is a STEM teacher, and he went and got an Air Force base to donate an F-16 simulator to us. So we can put these kids in the cockpit of an F-16, so they get a chance to understand what it might be like to be a pilot someday. The Rotary Club here has been very gracious to us, and they have a mobile exhibit that really displays energy. And what SciTech will do is then bring in all of their programs to show like DNA and other aspects of how you do it there. So 2-day fair, then in addition, over 2 3-week periods, we'll be in the schools 6 more times each session to do about 2-hour classes. And when it's not being run there, we're going to reopen our store in the building that's been closed on campus for a while. Part of that will be an education center. We're going to set the stuff up in there so that now, instead of kids running around like crazy, going crazy while mom and dad are taking their classes, we'll do that stuff Sunday night with them too. That's Youth in Motion. The final one we're talking about is one that you didn't ask about, but I want to talk about anyway. We are in the process of hiring a full-time chaplain because we make no attempt to hide the fact that everything we do in the name of Jesus Christ. And that's why we're there. And we just felt like that we really needed a full-time chaplain in our organization to always kind of test us and make sure we're doing the right things. We had 70 applicants for the position, and we're starting to do that now, but we hope to get that done in the very near future. I think I'm going to stop there and just take questions. Jordan?
Bill, if you wouldn't mind, I know a little bit, but if you would kind of tell everybody a little bit how you became interim president and your background a little bit. I'm sorry, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do, because I want people to know some of the commitment of the people that have worked with CCA over years and why it's where it is today.
My background is I am a technology consultant, and I was with the company I was a partner for 25 years with a company called Accenture, which used to be part of the old Arthur Anderson company. It was part of their consulting practice. When I joined there in 1982, we were 2,500 consultants worldwide. As of this morning, there are 280,000 consultants worldwide and still growing. In 1999, I went to a men's retreat at our church, and honestly, kind of kicking and screaming, because I was negotiating a contract out at US West in Denver and had a lot going on, but I promised somebody I would go, and my wife enforces promises in our house. So I went thinking there won't be one person here that I'm going to have anything in common with. There won't be any business people here. And I walked in and sat down and turned to my right and introduced myself. And I said, I'm Bill Dandridge. He goes, well, my name's Ed Johnson. And I looked the other way, and a guy named Rex Sanders. And the Grandy's boys had me pinned in for 36 hours. And at the conclusion of those 2 days, it's 1999, I said, I don't know why Ed said, but then he goes, I think you're going to become a supporter of CCAs, and I believe you might even end up there someday. And I went to Season of Hope that year, and my wife and I have been supporters ever since then. But then about 2 years ago, I retired in 2006. About 2 years ago, I was doing a lot of nonprofit work. I was on like 4 other boards doing things. And I ran into Rex, and I said, I know you and Ed run across a lot of things that are business opportunities. I really kind of enjoyed the not-for-profit, but I wouldn't mind doing some for-profit board work too. So if you see an opportunity where you think my skill set might fit, we should consider it. And Ed called me the next morning at 8:30 and said, we're welcoming you to the board of CCA. And my wife and I probably when we did. And then our former president left us in October of this year. At that time, the board asked, would you be willing to step in for some period of time? And I've done that on a volunteer basis for the last 8 months. We have a president search going on now. We are very excited about a few of the candidates we have that we're looking at. So I think at that point I'll just go back to the board, but I think I'll be involved with CCA for a long time.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It's just kind of a story of many of the board members and the president, Ed Johnson, he mentioned, ran it for several years during the Charles and several of the other people that have made this organization what it is. And I think you've been a star in our community. And we appreciate the work you've done over the years. Thank you very much. I don't know if anybody had any questions of Bill would like to ask or anything. Well, thank you very much for coming, and I appreciate all of you coming. Appreciate giving us kind of the update on it and letting us know a little bit more in detail about it. We appreciate it once again. We appreciate all the work that you do here in the community. Okay? Thanks, Jim. Thank you very much. You can tell Bill was in the corporate world, he knew he had the 6:30, boy, he was done at 6:30.
Don't tell me 15 minutes like you meant it, so.
Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda. And y'all don't feel like you have to stay, if you don't want to stay, we're just gonna go over the regular agenda. You say they can give it, y'all on the, but you might ask Chief about that first. I told them if they wanted to step out too, they could.
They already know what they're supposed to do.
Oh, okay. Okay, first item is a public hearing.
I will be abstaining.
Okay, if Rudy's not here, we won't do it then. Oh, you can't do
He thought
anything?
he'd be here
Should
by
be here
7,
now.
so we should be
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
On this item, if Rudy does show up and y'all wish to pass it but don't want to read it 3 times, you might want to table it to the next meeting because it won't have 4 votes.
Right. And he's gonna abstain again, and somebody's out again, it'll be the same situation.
Right.
So
I just-
3 times would be the end of, or be the first meeting in July, correct? If it was to pass tonight, then it would become effective first meeting in July.
10 days after that meeting, right?
10 days after that meeting, 10 days after the Friday following the meeting, so it would be the date of the second meeting in July is when it would be effective.
Is the applicant gonna be in here or now, or, I mean, I'm kinda,
The applicant is here, the representative may be here, but I don't think the applicant is here tonight.
in my opinion, why don't we ask them which they would prefer? Let's go ahead and address it tonight with the possibility that if it does pass, or with the fact that if it does pass, it'll have to have 2 more readings and will not be effective until the first meeting in July. If the other option would be that we table it to the next item, and if we had 4 people, because Greg's gonna be abstaining at the same time, right? Right. So if we have 4, then we could do it that meeting, but if we don't, we're in the same situation.
But back it up.
Correct. Another week.
Further down the road.
Right, that was my point, right. So maybe you explain to them, they may wanna go ahead and do it tonight and wait 2 weeks.
Try to get in touch with them before 7 o'clock.
Okay. Well, if they don't, then we just have to make a decision here as council. Okay. There was something, I don't think of it here in a minute, I had something too, I was gonna talk to you about going into closed section, but I don't think of it here in a minute. When we go into closed session, I know what I was gonna do. When we go into closed session, can we not also just have, and I don't know if he's gonna be here at that time, and then I'm talking about the first closed session, item C. Could we, I meant to try to call you this day and I didn't, I apologize. Would it be beneficial to have Trent come on in at that time, do his deal, so he wouldn't have to wait until we're finished and do it?
He's supposed to be here probably around 7.
We could just do
You
that
take
under.
that out of order.
Yeah. Would that help?
It would if he's here by that time.
Okay. Okay, item 2, public hearing. Item 3, public hearing. Item 4. Item 5. Item 6. Item 7. Item 8. Item 9. Item 10. Item 11. 12. Now, what I might ask you to do on that is, once I read the initiative, is let you just, or you or Liz, either one, that how this is what we are required to do, and that we are also required to try to mediate a settlement with them prior to anything, so people don't think that we're just going out there without an effort. Which one of y'all would want to address, which one of y'all would want to address, so y'all decide and let me know. Because I don't want people thinking we're just doing this without at first trying to do an agreement. Okay. Item 13. Item 4, I'm sorry.
Is there anyone here to represent this name change group?
Yes,
Okay.
applicants.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Sure. Item 14.
Yeah, I had a quick question on that one. We'll go through the dates. It goes August 9th, budget special session workshop. Then the next line is August 5th, published notice of public hearings on budget. It's supposed to be 15th.
Yeah, I have that in version of it if you.
No, that's okay. Just making sure my dates weren't.
Yeah, it should be the 5th, the 9th to.
9th, 15th, 18th, 8th. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, item 15. And item 16. As you know, Representative Vaughn is still in the hospital, but he's recovering, and hopefully he will be back by the next meeting.
Hopefully, he's
Right.
not really sure, he couldn't give me a definite answer.
Right, and I understand that,
But
but
he's hoping
it
so.
could have been one of us. Obviously, I was out last meeting, so you don't know. And that's it. Anything, council, anything else? Judith,
No, sir.
Liz, Donna?
No, sir.
We're adjourned. It is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum. We'll call a city council meeting order. First item on the agenda is invocation, led by Mayor Pro Tem Gilmore, and then the pledge to both American and Texas flags will be led by Councilman Tierney.
If you would, please join me in a moment's silence. Thank you.
Join me in the pledges to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
I tried not to look and then I just still screwed it up.
You just have to sort of go down.
Next time on the agenda, in accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.074, Personnel, discussion of election of Mayor Pro Tem and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, and Section 551.087, Economic Development, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. We'll now convene into closed session. We'll convene back into regular session. Is there any action to be taken, council?
Yes, there is, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to move Councilman Gilmore to Mayor Pro Tem and Councilman Ferguson to Deputy Mayor Pro Tem.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Tierney and a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is public hearing, consideration of an ordinance granting a special use permit request for an auto auction facility on 41.059 acres zoned light industrial located at 1836 Midway Road, further identified as Metro Auto Auction Dallas Edition Lot 1R, Block A, as requested by Buckeye 59, the property owner. The applicant is interested in expanding their current auction facility display area. The property has the appropriate underlying zoning, but also requires an approval of a special use permit. Additional items included as part of the SUP are acceptable by the property owner and are an extension of his existing 6-foot masonry privacy fence for the proposed display areas, a chain link fence around the remaining southern perimeter with additional trees along the boundary of Lot 2, additional trees in the customer parking areas and by the detention pond C and D. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of requests of by approval of the request by a vote of 7-0 at their May 6, 2014 meeting. I did not have any cards for anyone to speak.
Mayor?
Yes.
I will be abstaining from this as I operate a business inside the auction.
Okay. As said, did not have any cards for anyone to speak. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, do we need to close the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
We're so moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Durham to close public hearing, second by Councilman Ferguson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, if there's no more discussion, I move to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Durham to approve as presented, a second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor.
Is that on? This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Louisville, Texas by granting a special use permit for an auto auction facility located on Lot 1R, Block A of the Metro Auto Auction Dallas Edition, containing approximately 41.059 acres, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing a repealer, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Counselor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2 is a public hearing, consideration of an ordinance for a zone change request from agriculture open space to light industrial on 1.061 acres, and an ordinance for a zone change request from agriculture open space to local commercial on 0.117 acres located on the east side of Mill Street, perpendicular to Valley Ridge Boulevard at 990 North Mill Street, further identified as Tract 45 of the Wagner Survey, Abstract 1399, as requested by B. Crossley, the property owner. The owners have been selling live bait at this location for over 40 years. The City of Louisville is in the process of extending Valley Ridge Boulevard from Mill Street to College Street, necessitating the purchase of right-of-way at this location and resulting in bisection of the property. The proposed zoning districts are consistent with the adjacent properties both to the north and the south. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the zoning request by a vote of 7-0 at their May 6, 2014 meeting. Recommendation is that council approve the ordinance as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Tierney.
Move to close the public hearing.
Have a motion. Motion by Councilman Tierney to close public hearing, a second by Councilman Gilmore. All in favor?
Second by Durham, I thought.
I'm sorry. Second by Councilman Durham. I apologize. Second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Tierney.
Mayor, no other, no other discussion. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Tierney, a second by Councilman Ferguson. Any discussion? Counselor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Louisville, Texas by rezoning the 1.061 acre tract of land approximately located on the southeast side of Mill Street at the terminus of Valley Ridge Boulevard from agricultural open space district zoning to light industrial district zoning, correcting the official zoning map, preserving all other portions of the zoning ordinance, providing a clause relating to severability, determining that the public interest and general welfare demand the zoning change and amendment therein made, providing a penalty, and declaring an emergency. Also, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Louisville, Texas by rezoning the 0.117 acre tract of land approximately located on the northeast side of Mill Street and the terminus of Valley Ridge Boulevard from agricultural open space district zoning to local commercial district zoning, correcting the official zoning map, preserving all other portions of the zoning ordinance, providing a clause relating to severability, determining that the public interest and general welfare demand the zoning change and amendment therein made, providing a penalty, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3 is a public hearing. Consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 17, the zoning ordinance, Section 17-29.5, special use permit regulations of the City of Louisville to clarify the process for consideration of variances to the city's general development ordinance requested in conjunction with special use permit applications. The proposed ordinance modification allows for variances to be considered in conjunction with special use permit applications at the beginning of the development process as opposed to the engineering site plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the ordinance amendment by a vote of 5-0 at their April 15, 2014 meeting. Recommendation is that council approve the ordinance as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Gilmore.
Move to close the public hearing.
Have a motion by Councilman Gilmore to close public hearing.
Second.
second by Councilman Tierney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Gilmore?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Gilmore, a second by Councilman Ferguson. All in favor?
Mayor?
Oh, excuse me.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 17 zoning, Section 17-29.5, Special Use Permit Regulations, to clarify the process for consideration of variances to the city's general development ordinance requested in conjunction with special use permit applications, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing a repealer, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Councilor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the visitor citizen forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. I did not have any speaker cards filled out for anyone to speak. Next item is consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I did not have anyone fill out any cards, nor did I have anyone ask to have any item pulled. Councilman Ferguson.
Yes, sir. Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Ferguson to approve consent agenda, a second by Councilman Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7 is consideration of request to utilize associated city property at the Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park for the Kiwanis Club of Southern Denton County Toe Tag Triathlon fundraising event, and consideration of a variance to the Louisville City Code Section 2-201 regarding waiving special event permit fees as requested by Debbie Varenza, representing the Kiwanis Club of Southern Denton County. The Kiwanis Club of Southern Denton County is planning the 3rd annual triathlon event for July 27, 2014 at Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park. In addition to a request for a permit, the club is requesting a waiver of fees and use of city property for the fundraising event. The net proceeds of the event will be presented to the court-appointed Special Advocacy, CASA, of Denton County. City Council approved a similar request for this event in 2012 and 2013. The total amount of the request for waivers of fees for this event is $6,595.40. Recommendation of staff is that council approve the variance as set forth. Councilman Durham.
Mayor, if there's nothing else, I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Have a motion to approve as presented by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 is consideration of a preliminary plat of Castle Hills Golf Villas Phase 3 addition containing 93 residential lots, 2 non-residential lots, and 5 common area lots located on 28.468 acres, designated estate townhome and single-family residential with 4 associated variances located on the south side of Lady of the Lake, north of King Arthur Boulevard, and east of Sword Bridge Drive. A portion of Castle Hills Golf Course is being preliminarily platted to allow for 93 residential units. These units will be located adjacent to the existing golf course clubhouse as an extension of the club course in previous phases of the golf villas. The plat has 4 variances associated with this development. A, allow for private streets and gated community that the HOA will maintain. B, allow public utilities in an easement under private paving. C, allow 41-foot private street right-of-ways with 6-foot sidewalks and utility easements in lieu of the required 50-foot right-of-ways. And D, waive the alley requirement. The Planning and Zoning Commission's recommended approval of the plat and all variances at their May 6, 2014 meeting by vote of 7-0. I do have a card here by Brian Dench. He is representing Castle Hills here. He does not wish to speak, but is here to answer any questions. Does council have any questions, Mr. Dench? Councilman Tierney.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Tierney, a second by Councilman Durham. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9 is consideration of the final plat of Castle Hills Golf Course Lot 2A-1, Block A, designated estate townhouse, and Lot 2A-2, Block A, designated single-family residential R12 on 6.197 acres with 2 associated variances, bounded by Lady of the Lake Boulevard to the north, the Lake Boulevard to the west, and Eve Lake Court to the west, as requested by Land Design Inc., representing the property owner. The replat is seeking to subdivide part of Lot 2A for an additional lot at the Eve Lake Court cul-de-sac. Lot 2A-1 is the clubhouse for the golf course, while Lot 2A-2 is proposed to be one additional residential lot in the existing platted subdivision. The plat has 2 variances associated with residential lot width. A, to allow the lot width for Lot 2A-1 to be 20 feet in lieu of the required 50 feet on Eve Lake Court, and B, to allow the lot width for Lot 2A-1 to be 96.78 feet in lieu of the required 100 feet. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the preliminary plat and variances by vote 7-0 at its May 6, 2014 meeting. Recommendation of staff is that council approve the plat and variances as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Gilmore.
Move to approve as written.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Gilmore to approve as written, second by Councilman Tierney. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10 is consideration of an ordinance approving a joint utility contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1-A and Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1-C, the joint utility contract, and approving a joint road contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1A and Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1C, the joint road contract, providing for severability and providing its effective date and declaring an emergency. Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1-A and 1-C have requested the approval of the joint utility and road contracts, which are the documents that bind the water district to collect and remit an ad valorem tax to the city for payment of debt service on bonds approved by council on May 19, 2014. Recommendation of staff is that council approve the ordinance as set in the above caption. Councilman Ferguson.
Yes, move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Ferguson to approve, a second by Councilman Gilmore. I did have a speaker card filled out by Mr. Drew Keith, representing the utility road contracts, if he was here to answer any questions if you had any. Counselor?
This is an ordinance of the City of Louisville, Texas, approving a joint utility contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1A and Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1C, and approving a joint road contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1A and Denton County Freshwater Supply District 1C, providing for severability, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 is consideration of an ordinance approving a joint utility contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1A and Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1G, the joint utility contract, and approving a joint road contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1-A and Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1-G, the joint road contract, providing for severability and providing an effective date and declaring an emergency. Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1-A and 1-G have requested the approval of the joint utility and road contracts, which are documents that bind the water district to collect and remit an ad valorem tax to the city for payment of debt service and bonds approved by council on May 19, 2014. Recommendation of staff is that council approve as set forth in the above caption. Once again, do have Drew Keith here to answer any questions if you have any. Councilman Durham.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Durham to approve, a second by Councilman Tierney. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City of Louisville, Texas, approving a joint utility contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Fresh Water Supply District Number 1A, and Denton County Fresh Water Supply District Number 1G, and approving a joint road contract between the City of Louisville, Texas, Denton County Fresh Water Supply District Number 1A, and Denton County Fresh Water Supply District Number 1G, providing for severability, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of property located on the west side of Holford's Prairie Road, south of Midway Road, for the public use of constructing the Midway Branch Lift Station, including a sanitary sewer force main, gravity lines, and associated drainage, slope, and utility improvements. The project, determining the public necessity of such acquisition, authorizing an appointment of an appraiser and negotiator as necessary, authorizing the city manager or her designee to establish joint compensation for the property rights to be acquired, authorizing the city manager to take all steps necessary to acquire the needed property rights in compliance with all applicable laws and resolutions, and authorizing the city attorney or her designee to institute condemnation proceedings to acquire the property if purchase negotiations are not successful. The Midway Branch Lift Station or Force Main project consists of the construction of a new lift station structure, pumps, piping and controls, and installation of the new force main and gravity pipe. This project also includes erosion and control around the infrastructure site improvements and sanitary sewer elements. As required by Texas Property Code Section 21.0113, the city is required to first attempt to acquire the necessary acquisitions from the landowners voluntarily through the making of a bona fide offer prior to filing an eminent domain procedure. Counselor, did you want to touch on that a little bit, make sure everybody understands the process?
Sure. Just like you just mentioned, Mayor, we would first try to negotiate an agreement with the property owner to purchase the land before we instituted any kind of eminent domain rights that we may have.
Thank you, Counselor. Recommendation is council consider and adopt the resolution as set forth in the caption above by using the following motion, which is prescribed by Texas Government Code Section 2206.053. Councilman Tierney.
Move to approve?
No.
You got to do it by that. You got to read that motion there.
Oh, where's it at?
Right here. Right before 13, you'll see it.
Got it. Okay, I move that the City of Louisville, Texas, adopt a resolution described in Agenda Number 12 and authorize the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire for public use the property depicted on and described by metes and bounds in Attachment 1, attached to said resolution, said depictions and descriptions being incorporated into the motion for all purposes, for the construction, access, and maintenance of the Midway Branch Lift Station in Force Main.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second by Councilman, a motion by Councilman Tierney, a second by Councilman Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13 is consideration of renaming College Street Park to Wayne Frady Park. The Park Board received a request presented by Brett Amick to rename College Street Park to Wayne Frady Park at the May 14, 2014 Park Board meeting. Brett Amick presented his request and explained Mr. Frady's contributions to the community. The Park Board unanimously recommended approval of renaming College Street Park to Wayne Frady Park. The name change is for park only, and the pool facility will retain the name of Old Town Aquatic Park. Recommendation is that council consider renaming the College Street Park. I do have some speakers here. Did have, I believe, Mr. Brett Amick would like to speak first. You would just give your name and address for the record, sir.
Brett Amick, 1806 Crosshaven, Louisville, Texas, 75077. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Mr. Mayor, I have some letters of support,
Sure.
if I may. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all tonight for hearing us. I want to thank the park and the park director for allowing us to get this far as well. I think it's quite an honor just to be speaking to you in this matter. My grandfather, Reginald Wayne Frady, was born August 20th, 1931, right here in Louisville, Texas. He graduated from Louisville High School in 1949, played basketball, football, went on to be inducted into the Louisville High School Hall of Fame. After high school, he went to the United States Navy during the Korean War. From 1951 to 55, he served the Navy. Upon being done with the Navy, he wanted to come right back to Louisville. This is home. Home is where the heart is. He loved it here. Once he came back, he quickly got a job at the post office. Took him from many things as a clerk, custodian, but he found his calling as the very first mail carrier for the city. And eventually from that, he did it for 33 years, became an assistant postmaster and a postmaster upon his retirement in 1990. During that time, though, he did many other things that wasn't enough for him. He loved his family. He loved his community. He actually helped organize and start the LBA, Louisville Baseball Association. We've grown up playing that our whole lives. That's one of the best things about Louisville, in my opinion, is we have such a great sporting with baseball growing up. It's an honor I get to carry on today. I coach the select 8U baseball team with my brother for my son. And I think it's a thrill to know that my grandfather helped start that. He also went on to start on the Louisville Umpire Association. He umpired not only Little League games, but all the way up to high school games during his time, too. He helped start the Louisville JCs and became nominated the president at one point for the JCs. And said, through all the time of growing, I know we're expanding our highways and we're getting bigger. There's no more grass fields. We're shopping strips and giant houses. And he loved this town so much, and I think it would be an honor to remember the ones that have helped get us to where we are. And I would be truly honored if we could rename the park after my grandfather. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Questions or anything?
Anybody have any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, we have a young lady named Miss Honorable Ronnie Cade. Hello, Ms. Cade. Would you please give your name and address for record, just to let everyone know Ms. Cade is a former city council person.
Many years ago. Ronnie Cade, 753 South Poitras, Louisville, Texas, right here on the good east side of town now. I remember Mr. Frady from back when I very first moved here in 1971. And he was a larger-than-life figure, a man of great integrity, and an honor to have known him growing up. I wish there were more men like Mr. Frady, and it would be, my granddaughter lives within walking distance of this park, and it would just be wonderful to see his name and his legacy carry on and be able to explain to our kids and generations on down who he was and what he stood for. He was a sweet man, a quiet man, very humble man, but a man that loved this community and loved the people in it. He was born here. He stayed here. He raised his family here. His grandchildren are here. His great-grandchildren are here. And I think that Louisville, the community itself, would be honored to have that name on its park. And it's a great tribute to a man that has done so much. And I just wish as we grow, we're losing some of the legacy of our founding fathers. And I feel like he was very much one of our founding fathers. He never held an elected position, but you know what? So many of our founding fathers didn't. They were behind the scenes. They're the ones that did a lot of the work that it took to keep the community strong, together, and growing. And that's what he did. And I ask for your support and any questions that you might have.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. I appreciate your words. Thank you, ma'am. And next, I have several cards here that are in support of this. They did not wish to speak. I will read their names. Leslie Eskew, maiden name of Nixon, at 1574 College Parkway. Tyler Reed, 2128 Scott Creek Drive. Tanya Frady Massengale, 104 Cherokee Path. Wes Amick, 107 Teal Court. Randy and Rick Castanelia, I hope I pronounced that, Castanelia, hope I pronounced that right, 304 Amaratas Drive. Sissy Frady Hamlin, 104 Cherokee Path. And Tinker Mullins, 1806 Crosshaven.
are all in support but did not wish to speak. Councilman Gilmore.
Mayor, I just want to say that this is always awesome to watch the community pull together and bring forth these types of ideas. So I wholeheartedly move to rename College Street Park to Wayne Frady Park.
Second.
Wholeheartedly second.
We have a motion by Councilman Gilmore, a second by Councilman Tierney. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I do want to say that the city doesn't take lightly the naming of parks and facilities, and we greatly are honored, as Ms. Kate said, we greatly are honored to have Mr. Frady's name on that park. We do appreciate all the work that he and his family have done over the years, because I know if he was here right now, he'd tell you he didn't do it himself. And so we do appreciate everybody that was involved in that, and thank you very much. Okay. Item 14 is consideration of upcoming meeting dates for the city's budget process. City Council has provided a calendar showing the most important upcoming dates for city council meetings regarding the city's budget process. The budget workshop is recommended to be scheduled for August the 9th. Recommendation that council review the proposed calendar, direct city staff regarding any necessary changes, and adopt the calendar. Councilman Ferguson.
Yes, I would move to approve the calendar if there's no discussion.
Have a motion by Councilman Ferguson to approve the calendar as presented.
Second.
Second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15 is discussion and consideration of appointments to various city boards, commissions, and committees. On June 30th, various terms of offices of the city boards, commissions, and committees will be expiring. Those positions have been identified and current appointees notified. The board, commission, committee appointment process notebooks have been created for city council review. Data sheets for members requesting appointment and all new applicants have been included in the books, along with attendance data for existing members requesting to be reappointed. City Council will need to identify interview teams, interview dates, and determine which team will interview which board, commission, or committee. Recommendation that council consider proceed with the appointment process for the various boards, commissions, and identify interview team, interview dates, and determine which teams will interview which board, commission, or committee. So I was wondering, Councilman Durham, could you and Councilman Tierney work together on one team? Yes, sir. And Councilman Gilmore, if you will work with me on one team, please, sir.
That'll work, sir. Thank you.
And Councilman Ferguson, if you would work with Mayor Pro Tem Vaughn on one team.
Okay.
Would that do that?
Yeah.
I think you see everybody got their books. She's got them both on hard copy and internet there, so you can look them on your internet, or the hard copies are in your boxes tonight. If you go through there, and we will appoint the teams as to which teams to go over which deals here a little bit, okay? I'll give you an assignment of which teams are going to do which this. Is that okay, Julie? Is that all right? Okay. We don't need, do we need a motion on that? We don't, do we? All I did was appoint the teams. No. Well, I'll just give it to them and let them do that, okay? So someone, Neil, you want to make a motion, please?
Motion to set up the teams to do the interviews for our different boards and commissions.
Second. A motion by Councilman Ferguson and a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 16 is consideration of excusing Mayor Pro Tem Vaughn from attendance at the City Council meeting held on May 5th, 2015, and May 19th, 2014, and June 2nd, 2014. Due to a serious health concern, Mayor Pro Tem Vaughn has been unable to attend the May 5th, May 19th, and June 2nd council meetings. In accordance with Section 3.02 qualifications of City Charter, the City Council may excuse Mayor Pro Tem Vaughn for these absences. Recommendation is that council consider excusing Mayor Deputy Pro Tem Vaughn as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, I first of all hope that Councilman Vaughn can get well and come back. I move that we excuse the absences that have occurred, and that if there is a subsequent absence, next time that will be the first occurrence. So.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I do want to say that he is getting better, is recovering, and we do expect him back, but he has had some extended circumstances with his illness, so should be back soon, hopefully. Okay, brings us to reports. Nika, Bob, Chief Taylor.
Yes, sir, Mayor. I just wanted to invite everybody out on June the 14th. It's Saturday week to Toyota of Louisville Railroad Street Park for our annual Battle of the Badge tournament that will be taking place on that Saturday to help raise money for the Child Advocacy Center of Denton County. Should be a great day, weather permitting, and I'd like to see everybody out there supporting all the teams that are in attendance as they battle it out in this tournament, and obviously help raise money for a good cause.
I will be there, and I'm sure it will be a fun day, as always, for everybody. Melinda, Chief Kerbo. So have the two of y'all thought about maybe just getting those little blow-up balloon bats and beating each other up and see who wins? I think that'd be a good start off to it, you know.
I'd pay money.
For the right price, huh? We get enough donation, huh? All right. Carol? Nothing? Okay. Gina? Anything good? Brenda? Mr. Ferris, sir? No, sir. Mr. Backus? No, sir. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, just a couple of things. I want to remind everybody that school is fixing to let out, so the kids will be out playing and running around, and the pools are already open, and assume they were successful. So just watch out for all the kids. Thank you.
Councilman Tierney?
I think so.
Councilman Gilmore?
Mayor, I'd like to, and on the piggyback on that kids being out, a lot of residents don't know that we have an environmental learning area. It's over 2,000 acres right here on the lake. It's prairies, forests, wetlands, and it's managed by a whole slew of folks and all sorts of alphabet soup. But at the end of the day, it is an awesome place to go take your kids. This month in June, you can go to the city website and look in the events section, but there are 5 different events going on in June over there, including a fishing day, a night hike, bird watching, nature walks, astronomy on the prairie, and as well as our antique log cabin from the 1860s. So lots of great events to go out and see and keep those kids busy. That's all I have, Mayor.
Ms. Barron?
No, sir.
Councilman Ferguson?
Yes, sir. MCL Grand activities. We've got a couple of stage shows coming up. One called Dallas Plays Denton, a mini solo comedy fest. That's June 6th and 7th, presented by Our Productions Theater Company. We also have Joseph Hall's Elvis on June 13th, and that's presented by Joseph Hall Enterprises. Concerts, we have the last of the Texas Tune Series. Anson Funderburg returns to our stage. He was here for our grand opening, and so we'll have him back on July 5th at 8 p.m. That's a Saturday evening. Get your tickets, get here early, and get a good seat. Sounds of Louisville starts up pretty quick here. Tuesday evenings in June and July, always 7 p.m. June 3rd, we have Craig Parker, which is an Elvis tribute, so you can get double Elvis there. And June 10th, perennial favorite Brave Combo. Leave room for the conga line to operate in the front when you grab your seat. And June 17th, Vegas Stars, and then there's more to come after that. That's always in the MCL Grand Courtyard, or at least will be this year. And you can bring a lawn chair and bring a cooler. You can bring your dog, your mother-in-law, whoever is sitting around, your neighbor, because the ticket price is free. Art exhibits, we've got 2013 Fresh Ideas winner Irma Murray, also featuring photographs by Visual Arts League. That'll be in the gallery from June 7th through the 19th, and the gallery is open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 1 to 5 p.m., but always open during any public performance in the MCL Grand building. And finally, Stars and Stripes, an exhibit by Visual Arts League, will be in the North Corridor Gallery. That's the hallway on the north side.
June 14th through 19th, and again, same hours. So that's it, sir. Thank you.
Sounds good. Just kind of give everyone an update. I do get a lot of questions about our Park Plaza across the street. Appreciate everybody bearing with us, letting you know that we are now expecting, hope to have it open by, have an opening by middle of August. Unfortunately, I'll say unfortunately, we haven't had any really rain out days because we do need the rain. But we did have a lot of winter days that were bad this winter when we started, and there was a lot of unforeseen underground utility problems that we came up on, which also caused a lot of problems that are older than anybody knew about. And there were some problems there that we came up on, so it did cause some delays. But we have a tentative schedule right now of August, the middle of August, so we'll look forward to that. Appreciate everybody bearing with us on that. And in accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.072, property acquisition, and Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development, we will now convene into closed session. Council, is there any action to be taken?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Ferguson, a second by Councilman Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.